Hello, friend. My name is Masood. Today we shall talk about a topic that what are the basics of cloud computing. Friend, today's topic is very, very interesting, especially if you have interest in Salesforce and you want to learn about it. So, first of all, we have to understand that what is cloud computing. Before going deep into the cloud computing concept, we have to understand that what is a cloud actually. Whenever we are talking about cloud computing, there is a very common term that cloud has these services. So, what is actually a cloud? Friend, cloud is nothing, is just a basically a remote server which has different services, like for example a storage, networking, applications, platforms. So many things are there. So first of all, cloud is basically based on a client server architecture. Okay, now here is the question that what is a client server architecture. So first of all, we have to understand the concept of client server architecture. Friend, client server architecture is nothing a simple two components, client and a server. Now, here is the client. Client means that it can be like your computer, mobile device, anything. From this client, you are sending a request to the server, and server process that request and send a response back to the client. Okay, so here in the client server architecture, few things exist on the client and few things exist on the server. So both are basically both are sending, basically client is sending a request to server and server is responding back. So this is basically a client server architecture. If we go into the deep, like for example, client can be a mobile app, can be a desktop system, and server is basically a system which hosts applications. It can be have a database, it can be have a business logic. So this is basically a client server architecture. In the cloud computing architecture, in the cloud computing, what happens, that cloud means that a very robust server, a very good system which has many services. Okay, and the like your computer systems or mobile devices are basically connected to the cloud. This is the remote server, and on the client side only exist a browser and the internet connection. Through the internet connection, they are connected to the remote servers, and remote server has all these services. What are those services? Like storage, database, virtualization, security, application, platforms. So many things exist on the cloud. So the in the cloud computing, what happens that on the client side you have only the browser and you have only the internet connection, and all the things exist on the server side. Okay, so this is basically the concept of cloud computing. Let me give you an example. For example, you want to build a very robust or very uh, you can say a very intelligent and very high quality system, for example. So what you will do, you have to go to the market and you will purchase a very high processing computer system which should have a very good storage, very good processing power, very good RAM, etc. So it will cost you a lot, and also you have to place that computer system in on your premises in your office. So you will require the networking, you will require the applications, you will require storage, etc. So it will cost you a lot. The another way of if you use the cloud computing concept here, in the cloud computing, what you can do, you can purchase the uh, Amazon AWS subscription, and you will pay it through the credit card, and whatever the storage required, whatever the applications required, you can purchase it through your credit card. In the Amazon AWS, what happens that all the things exist on the server side. You are only using the services, you are using your client side, using your browser, internet, and all the services exist on the server side. You don't need to worry about how you will manage the storage, how you manage the storage, networking, etc. All those things will be managed by the server side. Here, remember, friend, one thing, that cloud computing is not a new thing. Many people think that it is a new concept. It is not a new concept, it's a very old concept. Let me give you an example. For example, Gmail is also a very good example of cloud computing, because see, all the image storage data, all those things exist on the server side. You are just using Gmail by using the browser and internet. Okay, so Gmail is a very good example of cloud computing. Another example of cloud computing is YouTube. In the YouTube, what happens that all the videos exist on the server side, and you are just watching those videos by using the browser and internet. Okay, another example of cloud computing is Instagram. In the Instagram, you are watching the videos, clips, all those videos stored on the server side. You are not storing those videos and clips on your local machine. You are just accessing those things by using browser and internet. Okay, another example. Similarly, other examples are, for example, Amazon AWS, Google Cloud, Microsoft Azure. These are also a very good example of cloud computing. Another example of cloud computing is Google Docs. For example, friend, whenever you want to create a document, so normally what we will do, like we have to install the Microsoft Word on your computer system, and then you can create the document. Here on the client side, like for example you are the client, so you must have a Microsoft Word on your computer system to create the documents. However, if we talk about Google Docs, in the Google Docs, what happens that you don't need to install anything on your computer. You can access the documents through the Google Docs. Okay, again same thing on the client side, you are not installing anything. You are just accessing those services which exist on the remote server. So this is also a very good example of cloud computing. Now, friends, so what is basically the concept of cloud computing? That all these services, they exist on the remote servers. Okay, and the client is accessing those services using the browser and internet. Okay, so the client only need a browser and the internet on the desktop application or on the mobile device, and the all the services will be managed exist on the remote server. Whenever we are talking about basically cloud, basically we are referring to a very high processing server. Now we can talk about the cloud computing architecture. This is the diagram of cloud computing architecture. Here you can see there are two sections, front end and back end. When we talk about front end, we are talking about the cloud, the client side. Basically client side means, like for example, the desktop or mobile device, and the client side is connected through the internet. Okay, like by using the browser in internet, the client is connected to the server. That is basically the backend side. Here the backend side has mainly, first thing is the infrastructure. Whenever we talk about infrastructure, we are talking about the hardware, like the servers or hardware devices. Okay, then it has storage. Storage means database storage, and the storage means, okay. Then it has the cloud runtime. The cloud runtime means, friend, it is just like a operating system. Whenever we talk about operating system, what is operating system? That it is a middle layer between the hardware the uh, and the application. For example, just give you an example. For example, you are using the Spotify application, for example. So whenever you select a song in the Spotify, it will run on the through the speaker. So what happened actually, the whenever you select a song, it will tell the operating system that this song should be played on the speaker. So operating system is a middle layer between the application and the hardware. Okay, it is a bridge, or it is a communication channel between the application and the hardware. Similarly, cloud runtime is also an operating system, which is basically a middle layer between the application and the infrastructure. So this is the same concept here of cloud runtime. Whenever we talk about cloud runtime, just think of this as a operating system. Then the applications are so many of types of applications are there. Whatever the applications running on the server. Then services means the platforms, like for example, let's suppose compiler services, the development services, so many services types of there. So in summary, it has a front end, which is a client side, and the backend, which is basically a server side, which contains the infrastructure, hardware, storage, cloud runtime, the operating system, and then the services and applications. So this is basically a high level infrastructure, high level diagram of cloud computing architecture. Hope you can understand this it very well. Thank you.